Okay, yes. All right. It's all coming back to me. This was like 3 weeks ago. I reacted to a video that Kyle did where it was just nonsense. It was a 20-minute video about how the Democrats hadn't done anything to stop Donald Trump. And it pissed me off. I think this was after the Texas legislature Dems fled the state to get rid of the quorum so they couldn't move forward with the redistricting thing. It was certainly after filibuster from Cory Booker and all the procedural ways that Chuck Schumer tried to delay things as long as possible. It was certainly after Gavin Newsom had sort of emerged as like the main foil to Donald Trump, and definitely after dozens of lawsuits that had been filed in blue states all over the country to block successfully in most cases to block Donald Trump from doing something with executive order, blah blah blah. I mean, there was so much fight going on in the Democratic Party, and I was watching this 20-minute video about how the Democrats were doing literally nothing, is what he said. He specifically referenced the Iran strike that Trump did. And he first of all, he was saying that Democrats should never have stopped talking about the Iran strike, that we should have made that like one of our main attack points on Donald Trump, which tactically just made no sense because at that point, a majority of Americans supported the strike. Like, that was just kind of a W for Trump. The initial strike and then maybe 2 days, 3 days afterwards, that was like the danger zone for Trump because people didn't want us to be sucked into a war with Iran. But what did Donald Trump do? He dropped a bunch of bombs on Iranian nuclear infrastructure. And Iran just fucking took it like a little fucking cuck bitch, you know? They did the symbolic retaliatory strike on like some ships that we had stationed near Qatar or something like that. And they gave us a heads up. Like, Iran's like, we're going to strike this. And so, like, they didn't do anything. And so, like, it was just a W for Donald Trump. It was just a W. Like, I don't like the idea of Iran having a nuclear bomb, you know? Now, he didn't eradicate their ability to ever make a bomb. He just delayed it, right? But I mean, looking back, like, I don't even know if I can complain too much about that Iranian strike. It's just that risk in the beginning was like, okay, is this going to lead to war? And then it didn't lead to war, and it was just, and so now it's like 55-60% of the country think those Iranian strikes were based. I don't know if I would call them based, but so just tactically, it didn't make any sense. Like, you want the Democratic Party to go around like primarily talking about something that he's popular for? Like, how does that make any sense? But then he also said that the Democrats, no Democrats spoke out after the strike. That's what he said. I remember this video very vividly. He's like, no one talked about it. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. And so I did a cursory YouTube search. And within 1 minute, I found speeches and various statements from both the leadership in the House and the Senate. Schumer and Jeffries both spoke up about the unconstitutional nature, what they described the unconstitutional nature of the strike. There were plenty of other Democrats in media that were condemning Trump for that risky move. What was a risky move back then? And you had Kyle Kulinski saying nobody was doing anything. So like, I just like that kind of coverage to me is very frustrating because I don't think Kyle is as bad as the others right now. Like, I have been saying that Kyle's a bit of a mixed bag as of late. He changed, I think, for the better. I think his coverage is better now than it was like pre-2024 election. He seems to be extremely focused on Donald Trump. So he's doing like the Josiah strat. So I might have been impulsive after watching that video that I'm referring to if I said that we should jettison him out of the party. It just pissed me off. It just pissed me off. Like, I find that messaging very, very destructive. Now, he's doing it like 1% of the time or whatever. And all these other people that he shares the space with, they're, you know, like, look at all of their reactions to the chorus story the Wired story from Taylor Lorenz. Like, has he spoken up on this on his Twitter feed? I don't think he has. So he did not pounce on this story, as far as I'm aware. He also tweets a lot, so I really don't know. I don't think he did. I don't think he did pounce on this story. So again, like right away, he's in a different camp, or, you know, maybe I take it back. Maybe I don't think we should kick him out of the party, but I just think he's still doing rhetoric that I find to be very like harmful, right?
That's like OT. Like, what do you?
How can you react to Destiny and separately Hutch from Live and Learn saying people like you, Crystal, and Hassan need to be exiled from the Democratic Party?
Crystal, 100%. Hassan, 100%. Kyle, I don't know. It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag, to be honest. I don't know if he should be kicked out of the party. I don't know if we should like actively be hostile towards him. He's like a low-level threat. You know what I mean?
They're just wrong, right? That's like OT. Like, what do you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, to be fair, I don't know if they actually said that. If they did say that, that's like despicable. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt in the sense that I haven't seen them say that, and I'm just going by a commenter who says they said that, right? But
I assume Destiny did say that for sure.
yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like I've tried to make a point in this moment of going after the right as much as possible, because I do see a liberal and left-wing alliance that's sort of burgeoning, where everybody realizes that we face two problems that we're up against. Number one, the fascists, Trump and MAGA. Number two, the billionaires. And as long as you are generally on that track, you're my ally, right? You're my ally. Now, having said that, if you spend a lot of your time punching to your left.
Okay. Right away, here's the problem with this. I disagree about the billionaire thing, guys. I think like if we got rid of billionaires tomorrow, I don't know how our lives would change all that much. You know, I think there are a lot of billionaire fucking creeps and bad people, and they're probably per capita. They're, you know, shittier people than the average person. But, you know, I'm not trying to get rid of someone's ability to be like a billionaire. But I'll agree with him on the fascism thing. I do think that is a very real threat. That's not hyperbole from me. Like, I don't think America is immune to fascism. I don't think we're immune to gulags and, you know, mass murder, and like I don't think we're immune to that. But what I think he doesn't understand is that the threat is not just from MAGA. If I look at a particular content creator, and then I come to the conclusion that that content creator is actually doing more to help Donald Trump and the fascists than left-wing politics in this country, then it necessarily follows that I would criticize that person. It's not an ideology thing. Like, just, I don't discriminate all that much. If you are someone that is actively harming the discourse, obfuscating the truth, cultivating an audience that don't have a solid grasp of what is actually happening in the world, because it's filtered through the lens of this really narrow lens of the content creator that they watch, who basically lies or completely misrepresents the truth or otherwise deceives people in some kind of way or confuses them, then that person, even if they're a left-wing creator, even if we agree 100% on policy, I could have someone who I 100% like we agree on literally every single policy prescription. But if that person is engaging in rhetoric that helps Donald Trump, why would I not talk about that? Why? Like, I thought if it's about beating fascism, then you have to talk about that. Now, like, I don't think everybody has to talk about that. I've never believed that. People like Josiah, that number one, Josiah is like just a nice guy who doesn't like fucking drama. He likes political debate, but he doesn't like interpersonal drama. And some people are just constitutionally like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's, especially politics, is so fucking toxic. People will dox you. People will, swat your house, and they'll dox your parents and then harass them. Like, it's nuts. And so if anybody wants to avoid all that, I have no judgment whatsoever, bro. And then also there's nothing wrong with people like Josiah and Brian Tyler Cohen, focusing fire 100% on Donald Trump. Like there's room for those people too. We don't all have to do the same thing. If I think it's more interesting to engage with critique on the left or challenge them or confront them or whatever, and I'm doing that 100% of the time or 90%, it's not that we don't cover Trump, by the way. It's just, even if it's like 90% of the time, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with Josiah focusing on anti-MAGA stuff 100% of the time either. Like we can all fill like different roles, right?
It's like you're sort of the useful idiot of the right. Like you're doing their dirty work. You know what I'm saying? You're doing divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so
yeah,
I'm divisive.
Who's he referring to? I've seen Cal Kalinske Majority Report, Crystal Ball Breaking Points, but I've seen a lot of these content creators look at this recent chorus situation and just consistently shit on the left, like constantly shit on the left. I've seen it. So I don't know, when he's talking about punching left, I don't know if he's referring to like Hutch and their takes about ousting individuals who are not allies, in my opinion. And I do believe that some people just need to start their own fucking party, because I don't see how you can be in this climate a Democrat, but yet, shit on fellow Democratic political content creators, or just the Democratic Party in general. Yeah, we call out what's wrong, but geez, that's not what's happening. I'm seeing like fucking annihilation. There's nothing the left can do. There's no credit that can be given. There's absolutely zero dipshit. And the fucking polling for the Democrats are in the tanker. You would think that there are some Democratic or very inspirational or content creators who have influence that can actually help fix that, but they continue to push that narrative, to support that narrative by shitting on them.
I'm the divisive one? How the fuck am I the divisive one? I agree with Kyle Kalinske in the sense that there is a clear threat right now that all of us should be focused on basically 100% of the time, pretty close to 100% of the time, regardless of ideological differences. We should be focusing on Donald Trump. How am I the useful idiot when I'm responding to the insane stuff coming out of like the black pill lefty spot? Wait, what? Excuse me? What about everybody who jumped on this chorus story? Like, divisive doesn't even begin to describe what they did. Do you know what I mean? The coverage that, what the fuck have I been saying? I've been saying Donald Trump is so much worse than the average politician. He is like 100 times worse. He is an actual threat to this country. Like, I don't know if we're going to have a constitution in 20 years. And I don't think that's an unreasonable position. I don't know. And Kyle Kalinske, what was he doing in 2020? He was on Joe Rogan's podcast on election night saying that he didn't vote for either Donald Trump or Joe Biden because he doesn't vote for war criminals. Like, okay, great. You had an epiphany after 2024, and now you see Trump as this unique threat, and your coverage has gotten better. Okay, great. Some of us have been sounding that alarm for the last fucking 8 years. Consistently. I spent years practically begging black pill lefties to start taking the court seriously and to start taking Donald Trump seriously. To no avail. They just keep getting worse. So better late than never, but don't preach to me about like Trump being the greater threat. Like, give me a break.
Do that. Try to avoid that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's bad. If you actually want to defeat the right, and if you actually care about fixing the problems we have, don't do that. Like, start attacking the right primarily, right? I'm not saying you can never disagree with anybody to your left. That's fine. Like, every now and then disagreement is fine,
I don't
but
think that's the case.
everything needs to stay.
I don't think that's the case. I think that like they do attack it. I think the problem is when they see other people attack like the left. When you're calling out Joe Rogan or you're calling out Donald Trump, meanwhile Breaking Points and Kalinske because of Gaza, you're once again shitting on the Democratic Party. and you can't find a few things, not one thing positive to say about the party, then like I guess that's where the fight comes in. That's where people are starting to throw hands because, they were all in it together to fight and defeat. We don't want. First of all, we got to worry about the midterms. We also don't want to advance to 2028. We don't want that. So we need to get our shit together and get our heads out of our asses and our heads into the fucking game. Start to pick sides. There's no fucking third party. You vote third party, you might as well not vote. It's like you got two choices. You're either going to vote Democratic or you're going to vote Republican. You're either going to continue the fucking norm of feds and more streets, more protests, etc., of just like a regime, authoritarian regime. Like we have choices to make in 2026 and then a big choice in 2028. I feel like it is a responsibility, you're not obligated, but I do think you ought to have some sort of responsibility with your big platforms that actually push good left. I will call it propaganda, but at least something positive that people can latch onto. Point out a candidate other than Mamdani to say, okay, well, I like this person or this person. Invite them on to actually have a conversation, even if you disagree with them. How about not start out with, why did you come here? That's probably the most unprofessional thing I've ever heard somebody say when somebody has asked to be invited to my show. I would never say, what are you here for? Because it's quite obvious what they're here for. They're here to campaign. They're here to advocate. They're here to get their voice out. They're here to get their talking points. You hear that. There are certain people like Crystal Ball should not, I wouldn't consider her ally in these type of things. If Majority Report, if they just bought that article, that dark money article, without even asking the people who are willing to show up and have a conversation about it, I don't consider them allies. If your first thought when you hear something negative about left political influences, and you decide to be like, yep, bad people then.
Stay, in context and perspective. And if you are exiling people like Hassan, me, and Crystal, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I think if anything,
should be fucking praising you guys.
And there's a better argument to exile the centrist than there is to exile the left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know about that.
Because
I mean, the centrists, I mean, like, first of all, I don't even, what is a centrist versus like, what is a moderate versus what is like center?
I can't stand centrists. Centrists, they make my ass itch. I don't understand the approach. It's like, you want to call the one thing, I fucked up the whole fucking screen. It's like you want to call out what's bad, and you want to make country, you want to help figure out what the problem is. But what centrists do is they play defense, like literally play defense. You have centrists like Chris Cuomo, you have centrists like Stephen A. Smith, Bill O'Reilly's probably a centrist, I don't know. But these type of individuals like to play defense. They like to ride the wave. So like, if the majority of their fan base or their followers is voting more so to the red, they're probably going to placate towards that and say, okay, here's what's wrong with the left. But you'll never hear them actually criticize anything on the right, because the right has power. And I feel like it would be vice versa. So centrists kind of just like, especially centrists who are like podcasters and centrists who actually have influence, they make my ass.
Left. I don't even know what these words mean anymore. Bad Company with $5. You're all useful idiots. Crystal Ball's first question to Slotkin is, why are you here? Yeah.
Exactly. That was a fucking horrible thing to start out with. Like literally no one running for office, even my daddy, should go there and acknowledge that fucking breaking points. That's probably.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah.
Go after the Pacmans.
We've tried the centrist thing 1,000 times over, and right now it's sort of clearly shown it to be the weakest of all the ways to fight back.
I mean, this is just empirically just not true. Like, it's not a mystery who performs better generally in elections. The centrist candidates versus the leftist candidates, or the far left candidates. We have.
How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No. Last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said there must be something wrong with him. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? No, I was very active this Labor Day.
Rumours have swirled online for weeks that President Trump is gravely ill. The president's been unusually, more absent from the airwaves and the golf course recently. He's also sported a bruised hand in recent appearances, sparking frenzied speculation, which the White House says is the result of a benign condition. It's perfectly fair to inquire about the Commander-in-Chief's health, which is why some of us did it with a visibly ailing Biden, who was, of course, sharp as a tack, according to his team. Well, today, Trump did what he normally does. He changed the subject. The president called an impromptu Oval Office press conference to discuss relocating the US Space Command. Well, joining me now is Vincent Ashana, PBD podcast host and self-styled Angry Patriot, Sean Spicer, the former White House press secretary, host of the Sean Spicer Show, Harry Sisson, the Democrat influencer, and the legendary Democrat strategist James Carville. Well, while we await the president, let's ask the panel what they've made of all this speculation. We'll start with you, Sean Spicer. Welcome back to Uncensored. A lot of feverish gossiping going on about the health or otherwise of President Trump. What do you make of it? There's no doubt he's been unusually quiet the last few days and unusually, by his standards, not very visible. That has merely fueled speculation. What do you make of it all?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Look, there's a couple things that are facts in this situation. Number one, it was a holiday weekend in America, so a lot of people had downtime this weekend. He played golf, I think, every single day. The White House pool accompanies him to those situations. There was pictures of him playing. There was a picture of his granddaughter Kai with him. So we physically saw him. He did an extended interview, an hour plus, with the Daily Caller, Reagan Reese. It's out. You can see that. They posted it. They pushed pictures out of it. He was very active on Truth Social. So, I mean, look, after 4 years of being gaslit about issues with respect to President Biden, you don't see the guy during a holiday weekend here in the U.S., despite him being active on social media and on the golf course. And the media goes and creates speculation about his health. It was wrong. It's ridiculous. And I frankly find it shameful that outlets like CNN decided to actually consider it.
And you find it shameful that people are actually, worried or questioning the health of the sitting president of the United States.
News. It just shows you that, these are the same people who covered up Joe Biden's mental and physical acuity and now run rampant with speculation with no basis of it, of fact.
Okay, James Carville, your response to that?
Well, let me give you a fact maybe you don't know. On January the 17th in the year 2017, Donald Trump sent Keith Schiller and two goons into his internist's office and confiscated his medical records. The internist, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Bornstein, said he felt like he had been raped. Where are those medical records? Produce them. Why did you have them stolen? Why did you do that? Answer the question. Joe Biden, he did this. It's something with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, noun or verb, but Joe Biden. That's all you could. Where are the medical records?
Or the Epstein
I mean, there's no doubt that was 2017. Then but he's done pretty well to look as fit and energetic as he has been for the next 8 years, James, hasn't he?
There's an underlying condition that's being treated. Why would you seize your own medical records? But in his last presidential annual physical report in April, if you compare the medication list to his old reports, there were 3 new medications noted. Rosuvastatin, which is used for stroke prevention, ezetimibe, which treats high blood cholesterol, and a daily aspirin. There's nothing there that suggests a massive underlying problem. You may believe that. Why, have you ever asked?
Wait, if you're to take medicine for, like you said, for high cholesterol, then there is an underlying problem.
To see the medical.
You don't take those medications for just. Trust me, I know I'm on a few of those type of medications. Family history shit like high blood pressure and high cholesterol. I take those medications because of an underlying issue. There's no way you're just deciding to take it to prevent something, to prevent it from even being a thing.
Records that were confiscated, and your whole time in journalism, you were there. Did you ever say, "Sir, could we see the records that you ordered confiscated from your own internists. No, you haven't.
So you
And
think?
so, well, I believe anything that the White House tells me. Oh God, he's taking some high blood pressure medication.
Wait, hey, James, with all due respect, it's not the White House. Those are military officers, and you have served, so you're well aware that you're questioning the integrity of a naval officer and whether or not they'd lie on it. So please don't go there.
Wait, I'm sorry. Didn't you guys do that with Biden's medical reports?
Let me go there again, Mr. Spicer, in case you can't hear. Where are the medical records that were confiscated, and what underlying condition did they reveal? And you can put something in a medical report and leave something out. And by the way, I do know this: a naval officer is in the chain of command. I hate to inform you that, but they are subject to
I'm well aware, James, how the chain of command works.
Okay, well, Sean Spicer. I mean, Sean, when you were Trump's press chief in the first term, did you have anything that come across your desk that suggested there were concerns about his health, or anything perhaps being kept quiet?
Not at all. And I was in regular contact with Dr. Jackson at the time. But I'll tell you, I mean, this is the first time, and I've heard everything that you can possibly hear about Donald Trump. I've never heard this anecdote before about
Nor have I, no.
January. So, I mean, look, it's interesting. So, I mean, look, but the bottom line is for the last several years, he's been seen by military government doctors who have given him a clean bill of health and put out his health records. So if there's an underlying condition, I'm not sure how you'd cover up for 8 years.
All right, Harry Sissons,
Again, it's the right way to point out that when you take high blood pressure, that means you have high blood pressure. When you take high blood pressure medicine, that means you actually have high blood pressure. Wouldn't that be an underlying issue? Wouldn't that be a concern for, what is it, an almost 80-year-old man to have high blood pressure in a really, really stressful job? I honestly, as much as I dislike him, do not want to see my president die. As a city, I don't want to see my city president pass.
The reality of this is that for a very long time, the Democrat supporters, the Biden White House, the liberal skewed mainstream media all presided over a mass cover-up of Joe Biden's actual health, which then came to light afterwards. Is this just a case of, well, you stuck it to us about our guy, we're going to stick it to you about your guy, even if there's very little substance for it?
No, I don't necessarily think it's that. I think it's a combination of things. I think that, folks like myself who supported President Biden just remember how people like Sean Spicer on this panel treated President Biden during his 4 years about his health. We don't forget that. We are remembering that. And it's just interesting to see someone like Sean hold a completely different standard. If Biden disappeared for a week, regardless of a holiday weekend, if he had bruises on his hands, swollen ankles, he's walking weird, he has this weird clips where he can't even identify the president of Finland who's sitting in front of him. I imagine that Sean would be on your show calling for Biden to do a press conference right now for medical records to be released. But since it's Donald Trump, well, Sean says, well, it's a holiday weekend. He's off. The guy who says he works 24/7, he's taking, he's taking a holiday weekend off, and he's just, he's playing golf. So I just find the double standard to be remarkable, but the facts remain. There are significant concerns surrounding Donald Trump's health. And I'm also really happy to hear people on this panel like you, Piers, and Sean saying that the medical records produced by doctors from Walter Reed are reliable, because Joe Biden had a physical all 4 years of his presidency from doctors at Walter Reed, neurologists included, who'd conducted these examinations. And in every single report, he had a clean bill of health. There was no concerning medication.
How was it then?
Nothing added.
Okay, but Harry, how was it then, if they were being completely honest, that the moment he was out of office, he revealed he had advanced cancer?
Well, Piers, I mean, the type of cancer that President Biden has is notoriously in the United States and around the world one of the most fatal for men. The reason being not because it can't be treated, but because it's incredibly hard to detect. That's why it's often caught at stage 3 and stage 4, as it was for President Biden.
But it's not hard to detect until the President of the United States having regular full medical.
Pierce.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not.
Cancer
is not something that, because you're the president, cancer doesn't give a fuck who you are.
Affects every person the same way and in different ways.
So you're saying
President Biden is not a super...
Joe Biden, the moment he was out of office, announces he has quite advanced, aggressive cancer. But your argument is that right to that point, nobody in his medical team would have had any ability to reveal it.
Yes, Pierce, because prostate cancer is incredibly hard to detect. You can fact check me if you want. You can look this up. That's why it's one of the top 5 killers of men in the United States in regards to cancer. And just think about what you're arguing for here when you're saying something like this. Is the claim that Joe Biden had cancer when he was in the Oval Office and they just hid it? They didn't provide him treatment. They let him die just so he can stay in. Really? I mean, you really think that okay. I mean, now we're on like QAnon level.
They hid his obvious onset of dementia.
Guys,
so why not?
We're going QAnon level conspiracy here.
Really?
When you think that Joe Biden had cancer, he knew he had cancer, his family had cancer, his family, who, by the way, have suffered a tremendous amount of loss through their life, right? This family who has suffered greatly, you think that they're going to let their Joe Biden just suffer with cancer and not try to get treatment, not try to do chemotherapy or anything?
You're talking about the same family who allowed him to continue.
Pierce,
hang on. You're talking about the same family who allowed Joe Biden in that last year of his presidency to end up on a debate stage when they all knew he would humiliate himself. U.S. national debt is more than $37 trillion.
I don't understand what that has to do with anything else. Like Harry was being very, very specific. No one's going to. Number one, cancer comes out of nowhere like an RKO. You'll never see it coming. There's no, at least I don't know that there's signs to say that, okay, well, I'm here now, I'm coming when it comes to cancer. So I really feel like what they just said was kind of like fucked up, and a lot of people who currently have cancer or is fighting cancer will probably slap them in their fucking face, because it's not something you can always catch. It is undetected. And it is a number with prostate cancer. Harry's right, is a number, like, is a fucking fatal killer for men. So like this line of question is fucked up. In a sense. And now to say, well, if his family would allow him to go into a stage and debate, which every fucking president does during a campaign run or doing, national debates, when you're a fucking candidate, you have to show up to the debate whether you're ready or you're not, right? So that doesn't give, like, I don't like the implications. I like the implications.
Text my name, Piers, to 989898. Claim your eligibility and get your free information pack. Again, just text Piers to 989898. They're pretty well capable from a political perspective of doing anything, even if it made him look terrible. Let me bring in Vinny. Vinny, look, there is a bit of schadenfreude here. The Democrats are clearly going to make hay while the sun shines about Trump's health, because, of course, everyone did that with Biden for years. So I've got no problem with Trump's health being scrutinized. I think it's perfectly reasonable. But all this stuff about, Trump's dead and all these things trending and so on, when he's literally out there playing golf. I played golf yesterday, and you cannot play golf if you're dead. You can't play golf if you're seriously ill, actually, because it's a more arduous sport than people think. You have to walk 4 or 5 miles, or you get in a cart and you have to walk around and play shots and so on. You can't really do that if you're seriously ill.
Oh, 100%. Piers, I just want to say before I start, thank you for having me on. As always, it's always a pleasure. I saw you on vacation. I see your tan. You look sexy. Like, Piers, you look like the international man of mystery. I heard they're casting with 007. They should consider getting you. But that aside, it just makes me laugh. Sitting here listening to people like Harry, and all due respect, James, and like, Harry, we know who you are, bro. We know exactly who you are. You're a shill for the left. You were glazing for Biden for all those years. All of a sudden, they wouldn't lie. They wouldn't lie. His son isn't a crackhead. The cocaine in the White House is this. You were the biggest cheerleader for how his mental acuity. Hold on, I'm going to show you.
You're like going all over the place.
You were the biggest cheerleader for Joe Biden, as if he was Harry. You didn't know that Biden wasn't in his right mind for the 4 years? You're full of shit. You know it. We know it. You're a shill for the left. You get paid to do what you do. You're a paid propagandist. Number one.
See,
number two, Piers.
I think it's just funny that Piers asked you an entirely different question and you just started going after me.
Harry, you had your chance. Harry, do me a favor.
Talk about bad health. This guy looks like a tomato right now, dude. He looks like 90 years old. He looks like as red as a tomato.
Let me say my point.
This guy's on fire right now.
My point is this, Piers, the left would want nothing more than Trump to be gone. They would celebrate. If he died and had a heart attack, they'd be in the streets parading because Hitler's dead. Let's not play pretend, okay, Piers? And guess what? These guys, just like Harry, ran cover for Biden.
I don't know if people would parade. I feel like there'll be half of America that just wouldn't care, as much as if it was a different president, because of what Trump's done so far. He hasn't made friends. He scared a lot of people. He's fucking, he's pretty much behaving as if he wants to be a dictator. I don't think if it's gone tomorrow that a lot of people would be cheering. We wouldn't see DC up in like her pop parade. No, that's never. I don't think that's going to happen. Give people some sort of credit. They're not MAGA. If it was the other way around, which a bunch of raving lunatics on January 6th wanted to hang Mike Pence, I think those individuals, if it was Joe Biden, would probably celebrate. I believe that. The ones that wanted to harm all the fucking lawmakers and the Congress. Yeah, I think you got the wrong people, Benny.
You want to talk about the family didn't know? He was falling up and down stairs, shaking hands with people that weren't there. Secret Service said he pooped in his pants in front of the freaking Pope. So don't give me that crap. Okay, let's just be honest, Piers. Let's be honest. Donald Trump, it's not a secret. He drinks Diet Coke. He eats Big Macs. He's not in great shape. But you know what is in great shape? The United States of America, Piers. We are back.
Wow, what a
we
spin.
Are kicking
Holy
ass.
shit,
Go
what
ahead
a
and name
spin.
it. The
Holy
border.
fuck.
Hey, Harry.
Crazy.
Look, Piers just laughed because Piers
do me a
just laughed
favor.
because he recognizes
Harry,
this
do me a
crazy
favor.
spin right now.
Harry,
oh
you
my
are.
God.
Harry,
Even Sean
you
is
are
laughing.
a walking
Sean is like, what is
meme.
going on?
Harry, you're a walking meme.
Come on, man. Go
you're
ahead.
a walking
Go ahead.
meme.
Keep
So
going.
everybody
Keep
that's at home, go on any social media, put Harry Sisson.
Yeah.
You're a joke. You're a walking hypocrite.
Okay, well, look.
Harry Sisson, no, but Harry Sisson is actually legit as far as political content creation. So I don't understand. I think if you would look up Vinny's name, you probably won't find anything. But if you do look up his videos, he's always this. This is just him. This is him screaming, yelling, turning into a red tomato. Like, this is all he is. If you actually listen to the words that's coming out of his mouth, nothing else matters but the fucking fact that his skin changes colors when he gets angry. That's it. No, all of his talking points. He's dumb. He's illiterate. He's only relevant because he screams a lot. And he's on, was it PBD or whatever the fuck? That's about it. So I kind of find it hilarious that he's trying to call Harry out for being like I want to say he's a loser or whatever he's trying to insinuate. And Vinny literally is only on Piers Morgan, not for anything that he stands for, but just because he yells.
Okay.
You're fake as hell.
Look,
Okay, look, let me just hang on, Harry. I want to ask James. I mean, look, there's no look. The fact we're talking now, we're half an hour past the time, 30 minutes past the time that this press conference was supposed to start, which in itself is a bit weird. But this may all be absolutely nothing, James Carville. But why it's serious, I think, is that as this is all unfurling, all this gossiping about Trump's health and so on, you've got Putin with Xi and Modi all getting together. There's a new kind of world order that's happening right in front of our eyes. So actually, the health of the President of the United States is pretty vital right now. What do you make of what is happening with those three?
What's happening is at the turn of this century, it was believed incorrectly that the United States was the most dominant nation vis-a-vis the rest of the world since ancient Rome. Well, that's not the case anymore. Trump has no idea what he's doing. He actually thought he was going to get some kind of deal from Putin. Of course he didn't. Of course we have China, 1.4 billion people, India, 1.4 billion people, and Putin doing photo ops. What a catastrophe. And all these motor mouths do is the left, and the left, and this and that. I don't know if this dude knows who I am, talking about me covering up for Biden.
You're the guy that has Trump derangement syndrome. The country's not doing great, James?
There you go. Doesn't know who he is.
James, is the country in shambles? Does the country respect? Are we on the world stage respected finally? You don't know. I don't need to know who you are. You look. Listen to. By the way,
this guy with the red tomato face has like an IQ of 5. You have no political perspective. No beliefs.
You really got
no political beliefs.
The Democratic Piers, I have to say this. Why is the Democratic Party at a 35-year low of approval? It's because of people like you and Harry.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know
Your
you don't have to
party
scream,
sucks.
right? We
you
can
guys
hear
stand
you.
on nothing.
Oh my
The
God.
party sucks.
Oh,
'cause your
Wait,
party
wait.
sucks,
Just to be
Harry.
clear.
You guys are
Wait,
the
just to be
reason
clear. Throughout.
the party's in
Yeah. Okay.
shambles.
Go ahead. Get it out. Get the anger out. I got it. I
Yeah.
understand you're very
Your
heated right
party's
now.
on-
Just
Yo,
to be clear,
Harry,
throughout this
Harry,
like 20.
why'd you guys?
Are you still going?
Why is
Are
the
you still
party?
okay? Go ahead.
Why is your
Everybody
party
let
at
him
an
have his temper
all-time low?
tantrum.
Why is your
Let him have his
approval
temper
rating
tantrum.
low?
I mean, look, there is.
The approval rating for the party that loses the general election is always going to be low until the midterms come. Then the midterms come, and depending on how the midterms go, then the popularity is going to flip, or it stays the same. It doesn't accurately reflect the entire fucking nation. I still don't like those type of pollings when we're talking about favorability.
Harry, there is a valid question there. The Democrats have never historically been this unpopular. Yeah, you can, James.
When's the last time a Democrat's lost an election since Trump been president? Can I answer it? Did you watch? The Democrats are overperforming by over 15 points. We're on for a bet in Virginia. I'm spotting you 5 points. You're going to lose, Piers. You're going to lose bad.
I've
All
already
of these
ordered
motor
my
mouths-
steak
Okay.
when
Let
you
me
lose,
finish.
James.
Okay. All these motor mouths, you're getting ready to get stomped.
Okay.
You're going to get stomped in Virginia. You're going to get stomped in New Jersey, and you're going to get stomped.
Yeah, but James, just hang on. On that
The
point,
bet's on,
hang on, guys. James,
The bet's on.
But James, there is no doubt that the polling shows the Democrat Party has never been so unpopular. That is a fact.
What do you look at? Polls or election returns? So we have deemed ourselves that election returns no longer matter in the United States. We're just going to talk about polls. Look at every election. Look at what's getting ready to happen. Harry, you take it from here. You can handle these people.
No, James, if there's anybody here that can really dispose of these freaks, it's you. But I appreciate the honor. I just had to say that.
Am I one of the freaks? Am I one of the freaks?
No, Piers, you're not one of the freaks. I like you, Piers. I like you. We have good conversations. This guy over here who looks like a tomato actually looks like he's about to explode right now. I mean, this guy is on fire. He's raging. Throughout the 20-minute, look at him. He's going to do it again. He's going to do it again. Look, throughout the entire 20-minute conversation we've had so far on your show, Piers, he has not outlined a single political belief. He has not outlined a single political belief.
That's Harry Sisson.
Go ahead.
Harry, you're the guy that was coercing 11 girls to send you nudes on Snapchat. Wasn't that you? Wasn't that you allegedly in the news?
No.
Was that you in the news?
It wasn't. No.
You're
It
the
wasn't me,
champion
actually.
for women.
It wasn't me, actually.
You're the champion
It wasn't
for
me,
women.
actually.
You're a
Because
scumbag.
Yeah.
You're a scumbag, Harry.
Do you want to keep
You're a
raging right now?
scumbag.
Look at you.
You're a scumbag.
Your face has
Everybody
turned
knows who
colors
you are.
since you've got onto
Everybody
this
knows
show,
who
by
you
the
are.
way. Your face has
Yeah,
changed
I just got back from vacation too.
No,
Just
you're
got back from
screaming. There's
vacation.
like
I thought that was about like Harry just not committing to one person. Wasn't that it? He just had 11 girls and just didn't commit to either one of them, and then like they all were just like mad because they thought that they were the one, or he must have told them I'm not talking to anybody else. So basically, he was a fuckboy. So who cares? I don't think anybody really cares that he was a fuckboy.
No
popping out of your
and
face.
do me a favor.
Oh my
hey,
God.
Harry and James, who's going to be your front runner for 2028? Who's your front runner? Gavin Newsom or Pete Buttigieg? Who's going to run? Kamala? You both said Kamala was going to win. You both said Kamala was going to win.
Should we try and get things back on a more even keel? Let me bring in Sean again. Sean, I mean, James Carville's very confident that notwithstanding the record low polling for the Democrat Party, that the forthcoming battle at the ballot box is going to be a nasty shock for Republicans, as it often historically is, right, in between general elections. What is your view of that?
Well, there's four major contests on the ballot. You've got California, which is doing a redistricting thing that Gavin Newsom put forward. I think that's going to go down. They won't pass that through, and Republicans will net between 7 and 10 seats in redistricting. So that's going to be an abject failure for the Democrats.
Today's show is brought to you by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day.
Damn, Piers, you can't just wait till the guy finishes before you cut him? Jeez Louise. I guess the fucking last segment went a little too long. But yeah, that last segment was crazy. Vinny doesn't. I don't think Vinny has an intelligent bone in his body. I really honestly believe that people only give him the time of day because he yells. He just screams a lot, and that's it. But when you actually try to tune out the high decibels, you listen to what he's saying. He's not saying anything. he's just talking, and it gets so annoying after a while that people actually sit there and listen. He gives nothing. You literally have to stoop, like you have to bring yourself down and like kind of tell him that the sun is going down in order to get him to calm down and understand the word that he's saying.
70% off your first order. Get 70% off with the promo code PEERS. Now, everybody knows how much I enjoy my tea, and I'm very happy to say that today's show is sponsored by Peaks Pure Fermented Teas.
Holy shit, 2 fucking Piers Morgan, like, in a row?
These are not your average brews. They're sourced from 250-year-old wild trees in the Himalayan foothills, which are untouched by modern farming. No pesticides, no fertilizers, just nature at its best. Pure delivers a full spectrum of prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics, just like the fermented foods found in longevity hotspots. It comes in crystal form, so there's no messing around. Just dissolve, sip, and feel the difference. It's trusted by health experts, including Casey Means and Dr. Mark Hyman. There's teas for all occasions, and they all support your gut health, metabolism, and cellular renewal. The next time you put the kettle on, ask yourself, is my tea working as hard as me? Peaks Pure Fermented Teas for the gut of a Brit and the longevity of a Himalayan monk. Get 20% off for life, plus a free frother and glass beaker with the Pure Bundle. Visit peaklife.com/peers. That's peak, P-I-Q-U-E, life.com/peers.
I don't know why I just sat through all that.
You got New York. I believe that Mondami will be the mayor, and they will own that. They will own the policies of Zoran Mondami, and that's great. So Republicans have 13% of the vote in New York City. I don't think we have a shot there, but I will think that the outcome of that will be something that every Democrat will have to answer for. In New Jersey, Republicans are going to do a lot better than they ever have historically. Right now, I know James doesn't want to talk about polls, but you definitely have that within a single-digit contest right now for governor. And then in Virginia, we've got 3 races right now. I think it's a lot closer than people think. I think Winsome Sears has a real shot of pulling this thing out. I'd take James's bet, by the way. If he wants to spot 5 points, I'll take it. All right, how much?
You're out. I'm giving you 5.
No, let's put real money down, James. I'll do some real money.
You're on. I'm giving you 5 points. You're on for a dime. But to a gambler, that's $1,000. You're on.
Oh, okay.
Game on.
I'm not as big of a gambler.
Period.
All right, look, I think we're gonna shock people. Yeah.
Okay.
Considering the amount of money that the Democrats are pouring into Virginia. Yeah. Do you want to do all 3 races? All 3 races, or just the governors?
I'm talking about the governor's race. I'm spotting you 5 points. I'm giving you 5. So if she wins 52-48, you win. Even
I know.
if you
Actually,
lose by 4,
I can lose 4. I can lose by 5. Yeah.
We got a bet.
Yeah, good. I'm for it.
I'm good. Got a bet with Piers.
So there you go.
I got one with Jesse Warren too.
But here's the thing that, Piers, it's important, is when you get beyond the talking point, as I said, I just went through the 4 major races that are on the ballot this year. I don't think Republicans have anything to be ashamed of. We're going to do very well. They're going to lose that ballot initiative in California. The Democrats are going to own a socialist in New York. And then in New Jersey, Republicans have a good shot of winning that race. And at the very least, we're going to keep it within single digits, which should be scary for every Democrat out there thinking that New Jersey is now a potential purple state. And in Virginia, yeah, I think we're going to keep it a lot closer and probably pull this thing out at the end.
Harry Sissons, how is the Democrat Party going to align itself going forward? I mean, Mamdani is running away with it in New York, and great for him. But the party will have to own the fact you've got a pretty socialist guy then as New York mayor. Okay, they're going to defend that. But is that an indication of where the party thinks it should be going to actually win back power?
The name of it is the Democratic Party. Not the Democrat Party.
James, that was for
UK, that values language and exactness. A political party has a right to be called what it wants to be called.
My apologies.
You should call it the Democratic Party.
I've just apologized. I've apologized for my linguistic error. It is, of course, the Democratic Party. Thank you, Mr. Carville, for pointing out my mistake. And I'm big enough to admit when I'm wrong.
Okay, thank you. All right, good deal.
So, Harry, the Democratic Party, which has currently never been more unpopular, appears to be veering sharp left. Is that really a smart move if you want to win a general election in the next general election?
What has a greater population, New York City or the combined population of Virginia and New Jersey? I happen to
You're gonna have to mute James so Harry
know
can
the
answer
answer.
a question.
Okay.
It's by far the combined population of Virginia and New Jersey. See, when you just take a fact out, this, we got to do that, but we're not going to pay attention to that. We just can talk about this, all right? So I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about that.
Okay, but my question, James, hang on, James, my question, though.
We're going to, again,
can the Democratic Party, and I will emphasize it, can the Democratic Party win with a Mamdani-style agenda or not?
I'm not for Mamdani-style agenda, but let's see how he governs. But you know, we can win on what his primary talking point is, and that's the cost of living. And by the way, Donald Trump said he was going to get it down from day one, and we're going to have peace in Ukraine on day one. What day are we on? What world is he living in? All right, I wouldn't worry too much. And you know, there's a lot. You know, one thing in the Democratic Party, there's diversity, diversity of thought, all across the board. But you can't look at one thing and make an overwhelming conclusion. And by the way, we're going to nominate a president in 2028. It's going to be a pretty talented person, whoever it is. So I'm not concerned even about that.
Oh, yeah.
I know in 26.
Gavin Newsom, because he's doing such a great job in California. Oh, by the way, because you asked, Piers, the Democratic Party, Democrat, whatever it is, what are your morals? What is your what are you going to do different? What's your policies? Because Piers,
Junction, what's your function?
Hey, gender ideology for kids, puberty blockers, hormone treatment, defund the police. Mamdani wants that. Letting illegals come in to rape and murder our freaking daughters. Weaponizing the DOJ and the FBI. I want to know, James, what is going to be your message? What is going to be so different that, mind you, Piers, the Republican bench, let me finish, the Republican bench is deep and it's filled with some ex-Democrats. RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Eric Trump, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance. Guys, and you guys want to make a bet? You are cooked in 2020. Because guess what, Piers? God forbid something does happen to the president. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine because people are waking up to the crap that is coming out of these people's mouths. You have no message.
With
you have
his
no
38% approval rating, for sure. You guys will be just good.
Harry, you are a
just
joke.
Good. 38%
Harry,
approval rating.
you are a meme.
38% approval rating. 38% approval rating. You guys are just great. You're just great. You and your 38% approval rating.
Let the walking, talking meme
takes you serious. Nobody takes you serious.
Pierce, I don't think that name should stick,
Nobody
actually.
Takes you serious.
Well, I quite like the idea of you being a walking, talking meme. But Vinny,
I'm not a fan of that.
Harry, let the walking, talking meme respond.
You really are.
Harry, you're a walking, talking meme. Respond.
Pierce, this cannot stick. It cannot stick, Pierce.
I promise one thing.
There's nothing. There's nothing to even respond to when he speaks. All he does is just like scream, and he just provided a list of like Democratic priorities, which are a complete straw man. Like I actually don't know this guy's name, but you have absolutely no nuance in how you evaluate politics. You're not here for an educated conversation.
So tell me what your party stands for.
Wait, hold on. Just be quiet for a second.
What's your party stand for?
I'm happy to answer if you just stop screaming for 5 seconds. We can all hear you. I promise. We can definitely hear you. You know, at least Sean, who I have plenty of disagreements with, I'm doing it right now. At least Sean, who I have plenty of disagreements with, has come on here and been very respectful. He's, articulated his position. We have disagreements. That's perfectly fine. You're on here just screaming your face off. Now, let me tell you what the Democratic Party stands for. Build more housing, abundance. We want more houses to have more people in, and studies show time after time that if you build more housing, rent comes down. Right? That's number one. Number two, economic prosperity, opening up more job opportunities, investing in America like Joe Biden did with the CHIPS and Science Act, which, by the way, Donald Trump is going out there and bragging about. But in reality, it's the money that came from Joe Biden's bill that did that. Investing here, investing in technology of the future. And that includes, I know this is big and scary for you, but renewable energy. That's one of the fastest growing sectors in America. It's providing well-paying jobs. China's currently beating us at it, and Donald Trump made it worse by defunding these things. Let's invest in America. Let's build more housing. And let's also just care for people. Let's stop kidnapping people off the street in masks, throwing them into vans. Let's get back to constitutional due process, which, 10, 20 years ago, you might think the Republican Party stands for. But today, you're going to come on here after I finish, and you're going to scream, Donald Trump's not doing that. Donald Trump's not doing that. After judge after judge after judge appointed by Reagan, Bush, Trump have said Donald Trump has violated X, Y, and Z's due process. So we, the Democratic Party, actually do stand for the Constitution. We stand for affordability. We want to make the economy more fair for people. You just come on here and scream your face off about culture war issues that don't exist. Neither James Carville nor I will say we think 10-year-olds should be having their genitalia cut off. But you live in a bubble where you think that actually is the reality. You cannot have an informed political discussion with someone like me or James Carville, and you can't take the example that Sean Spicer has set for you today and be an adult. Be an adult. That's all I ask.
Hey, listen, Harry, if anybody's talking about examples, so are you going to sit there and tell me that your Democratic messages build more houses? You are the one, for 4 years saying everything was good under Biden, inflation, the board. So, Harry, as a Democrat, would you reverse order and open it up and bring all the illegals in? Is that what you would do? Because that's what your party did. That's what Alejandro Mayorkas did. And you never said, hey, excuse me, I let you talk. Now this is why I scream, because you want to talk over me. So shut your ass up, all right? You guys left the border open.
A grown man, by the way. Look, Sean's even laughing at you. You're a grown man behaving like this. It's remarkable.
Fentanyl, how many people were killed out? Because, see, you have no argument because you got to talk.
He's going to talk about fentanyl. He should actually ask who's bringing it.
Fentanyl deaths went down under Joe Biden.
Died of fentanyl?
Fentanyl deaths went down under Joe Biden.
Okay, let me bring in
fentanyl deaths went down under Joe Biden.
Sean Spicer. Let me bring in Sean Spicer.
Please bring in Sean Spicer.
You're a joke.
Please bring in Sean Spicer. Please
Sean, as we speak, we're now 43 minutes late for this press conference. It was heralded to be at 2 p.m. Eastern. What's going on here, do you think?
Well, look, I think we're going to find out in terms of what the substance is. This is not that unusual. I, as a guy that held several of these briefings and coordinated several of these announcements, a lot of times part of what happens is you've got additional things that want to get said or coordinated. I know that we all know that at least the belief is that this is all about the Space Force headquarters moving from Colorado to Alabama, but there's a potential other personnel announcements and other issues that are in front of the Department of Defense. There's a lot of crime issues. And so as you're getting ready, as I would brief the president in the past, you've got a lot of policy people in the Oval Office in this particular case. And there are probably people who are asking the president, can you bring up my issue? Can you talk about crime in D.C.? What are we doing about Illinois? But as you can imagine, there's a lot of things that are being discussed ahead of the president addressing the media and them coming into the Oval Office. And so that's number one. Number two, what you've also got to recognize, Piers, and I don't know this because I'm not looking at my phone while we do this.
I'm actually just doing that to check what's happening.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because one of the things that is while the president will announce that it's at 2 o'clock, the pool will come in, film it, and then leave and air it. So in a 2 o'clock event, sometimes doesn't actually get aired until 2:30, 2:45. So we could literally, it could be happening right now. The pool will come in, cover the event, come out, and then feed it out to the other networks. So there's plenty of times when a live event isn't actually happening in real time. It's the media that comes in, captures the event, and then sends it out.
So I'm looking at something here where Scott Jennings, who does, I have to say, a formidable job as the kind of token conservative on CNN, Trump has phoned into him amid the health rumors. I'm listening to it now. So this is this morning. So that's this morning. Right. So, he is conducting some media. He is playing a bit of sport and so on. But of course, if you're 45 minutes late for a press conference when everyone is speculating that you're dead, which is obviously ludicrous, but if you are 45 minutes late, it will only fuel the rumors, won't it, Harry? Not that you're dead, but there's something wrong. Harry, you're muted, which many people would like to hear. But
I'm so sorry.
No, many people prefer it.
Oh God, you're back. Oh God.
Okay, you can't take Piers's joke and then make it your own. It was funny when he said it, not funny when you said it. My God.
Just hurry up.
Jeez Louise. Anyway,
please, Harry.
I'm happy to just stop screaming your face off. Relax. It's okay. You're a grown adult.
Go, please,
yeah, I mean,
Harry.
Piers, I think you're
hurry up, bro.
Right. Piers, I think you're objectively right, regardless of political belief. Like, if this is the press conference that is supposed to be billed as the meeting that is going to convince people that you're healthy, being 45 minutes late is on its face concerning. Now, as Sean outlined, there could be things happening behind the scenes. It could be taking place right now. We have no idea. So I'm not one to like dive into conspiracy. I don't really want to speculate on like, oh, you know, Trump had a stroke and now he's not coming for the. I'm not about that. I think there could be something happening, but you know, things come up in the president's
I mean, the
life
various
that
things we've heard is that the Department of Defense may be renamed Department of War. There's what the theory that Sean put forward about the movement of the. In fact, Sean, just explain the significance of.
All right, so the pool report right now says that at 2:40, which is 7 minutes ago, they moved into the Oval. So
Okay.
the press has assembled in the Oval Office as of 2:40, according to the Washington bureau chief of the Los Angeles Times.
Yeah, and the movement of the military base, I think you were alluding to. What is the significance of that?
So Space Force, which was created under Trump's first term, was initially, President Trump had said there was going to be in Huntsville, Alabama. There's a lot of assets there that had already existed. There's an arsenal down in Alabama. Colorado made a play for it based on some existing headquarter assets that were there, mostly temporary. Biden pushed it to Colorado. A final decision has never been made. I think what's going to happen is Trump will officially move it to Huntsville, Alabama. This is big for obviously jobs, right? So the one thing I would say just from a policy standpoint is Biden's Secretary of the Air Force at the time did agree that it was both cheaper and more advantageous for Huntsville to be the home of Space Force.
Okay.
There's a lot of financial aspects and jobs.
Sean, because we think the president has now arrived. Let's just take a little listen to some of this.
And so I want to thank you all for being here for this important announcement, 7 years in the making. As you know, this has been going on for a long period of time, and I am thrilled to report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City.
Something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really?
I didn't see that.
You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, and I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff.
I'm glad it's
Well, it's fake news. You know, it's just it's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, you know, it's Labor Day weekend. So I would say a lot of people know I was very active this Labor Day.
So that was the President of the United States. We've lost James Carville. Obviously, he wasn't going to hang around.
Piers, he's probably crying. He's probably crying because he's okay. He's probably pissed off that the president's okay. A lot of these people, Piers, I'm telling you right now, I am, look at, Piers, can I say one thing? 80 years old, has been going, hey, Harry, please just be a child and just shut your mouth.
I haven't said a word.
Right?
I haven't said a word.
This guy is 80 years old, is almost 80 years old. For the past 10 years, Piers, all he's been doing is going for America 100%, regardless of the spying, the Russia bullshit, Obama's DOJ spying, from Hillary Clinton with the fake freaking, all the bullshit that they did for all the years, the fake impeachments, all.
What is he talking about?
All the lawfare, and look at him. He finally takes a couple days off. He finally shows that he's human, and these people are like, oh my God, he might be dead. It's like, bro, shut up, all right?
Okay.
Donald Trump, if he keeps going, Piers, for 3 more years, he is going to go down as one of the greatest presidents in the history of this country.
Okay.
Period. End of story. Full stop.
Well, the one question I have for Harry is,
Yeah, Harry, you're going to have a...
Harry, are you pleased to see President Trump looking so apparent?
It's going to look like the hemorrhoid. Donald Trump's asshole. No.
Apparently well and healthy.
Well, can I want to. Yes, I never wish death on Donald Trump.
So you're pleased he looks healthy.
Yeah, I don't want Donald Trump to die. I'm not. No. Yes.
Oh, yeah,
I
sure.
don't think he looks healthy there per se, but I'm glad that he's alive, of course. But Piers, I will say, just after listening to him, the red man, throughout this entire conversation, I do want to say that I never appreciated how hard your job is to listen to people like this guy just scream for 45 minutes to an hour almost every day.
Oh,
so I do want to show you an ounce of respect right now, just for listening to this guy. It's a lot, Pierre. So genuinely, I want to.
I love Vinny's passion, and actually, I think Vinny's complexion. Vinny's complexion is clearly a Labor Day weekend spent enjoying himself in the sunshine.
Yeah. Look, he's so angry. I just love how angry he's gotten throughout this conversation.
Harry,
look, he's still going. He falls for it every time. You walk right into it every time. You have like the IQ of a goldfish. So when I say something like that, you do it.
Harry, you should steal from Gavin Newsom, start a clothing line that says,
look, he's going again.
I was wrong about everything. Wrong about everything.
He's going again.
He's still everything.
Let me end with Sean Spicer. We're looking at live pictures of his hand, Sean, which looks like he's had a bit of makeup attached.
That's
to it. Are we just all losing our minds here? I mean, if you look at any 79-year-old man's hands, they probably occasionally have a bit of bruising and stuff. He looked perfectly normal to me. Obviously, we don't know if there's anything else, but it looks to me like this has been a bit of a manufactured crisis.
Well, there's two things I'd say. One, it's a bit creepy that we're staring at his hands.
Yeah,
I guess it's probably better than his feet. But I will say that, look, the White House proactively came out and addressed these issues. So Caroline Leavitt took to the White House podium a few weeks ago, it's probably a month or so now, and addressed those issues proactively. This is a sharp contrast from what we did see. This is how it should be handled. People are going to have medical issues all the time, whether sometimes you bruise easy, sometimes you have a particular situation, sometimes there's a abnormality that has occurred or a medical condition that comes upon you. The question is whether or not the White House is being transparent. In this case, they have. Right? So you may not like President Trump, you may not agree with his policies, but at the end of the day, we are all Americans. I never wish Joe Biden any harm. While he was in office, we need a strong chief executive, a strong president to be the leader of the free world while they're in office. But at the end of the day, President Trump and his team have thoroughly explained what's going on and the issues that he faces. So I really think there's a big difference between real issues that he's facing and speculation, which is what we saw this weekend, and why it was unfounded, Pierce. And this is what was so weird, is that there are media pools that stay around the president 24/7. They were reporting on his movement. There were pictures of him on the golf course. There was a picture of him with his granddaughter. So the idea that he was missing in action or unseen is just patently false. He sat down for an hour with Reagan Reese of the Daily Caller. There were photos of that interaction. There was a transcript release of that interaction. So there's one thing for people to speculate. There's another thing for them to lie. And in this case, these were lies because we saw President Trump. We saw him on Truth Social. We saw him physically on the golf course. And then we saw him in the Oval Office give that interview. So I think there's a big difference between speculation
well, you know
and
what?
actual...
I mean, look, the bottom line is that the best way to shut the gossips up actually is to do what Trump just did, which is to walk out in the Oval Office, sound and look completely normal, and go about normal business. That actually, in the end, is the best way to shut everybody up. For now, anyway. And I've got to shut you guys up for now. I would have shut James Carville up, but he's disappeared. But thank you all very much, gentlemen. Thoroughly enjoyable. And welcome back to Uncensored.
I do wonder what you find thoroughly. If you found that thoroughly enjoyable, James, Pierce, I am concerned about your social life.
I'm a very weird British guy. We get amused by the weirdest of things. I mean, I'm laughing now because Vinny appears to have blown up. There it is.